So in the last video, I talked about several reasons why writers should start a YouTube channel, but I never really got into the my personal reasons, so to speak, of why I myself am deciding to start a YouTube channel. And in this video, I want to get into that. So last year, back in 2024, I was a part of a series of layoffs, basically from the company. We were a digital marketing agency that serviced e-commerce clients, basically helped them sell their products. And I was mostly a content writer for SEO and also did some of the copywriting for Google ads and social media ads. And I wasn't really shocked by the layoffs because we all saw it coming. There were several of us through at the start of the year were already being slowly laid off, and it's like every month another person had to go, and it just so happened that one month it was my turn. So when my boss called me in, gave me the news, gave that whole speech, it's not you, it's us. Right? um, uh, I was, it was interesting because not only was I not shocked, but I also felt relieved. And that for me, that's when something clicked that, I was actually feeling a lot of burnout from that. And burnout because, well, to be quite frankly, I didn't really like my job. I mean, I'm good at what I do. I got a lot of positive feedback from both my bosses and the clients, but it's not something I'm passionate about mainly, writing stuff and helping other people achieve their goals and their dreams while mine just constantly sit on the back burner basically. And there was no fulfillment in my life basically in terms of where I wanted my career to go or what things I was passionate about and wanted to pursue. So you would call it a midlife crisis. Maybe it is because I mean I'm almost in my 40s, and that is basically when things turn towards this midlife crisis. And so, unfulfilled, burnt out, suddenly I'm let go and I'm laid off for economic reasons. And a part of me was so relieved that I was out of that job because honestly, if it was up to me, I probably would have stayed there much longer just because I was comfortable. I was earning a good living. I was supporting my family, supporting my wife and my son, and things were great. I was comfortable and I was content with where I was. And life throws me a curveball and I get hit in the head. And I guess it's because I've been running this rat race. I've been running around this hamster wheel for more than 10 years now, doing things for other people, but never really doing much for myself. Because honestly, my original dream, ever since I was young, ever since I was high school, college, even my young adult years, my dream has always been to be an author, mainly a fiction author. I love stories ever since we were young. My mom would read to me and my brother every night and every afternoon, basically before our afternoon nap. She would read us a story. Many of them were Berenstain Bears books. And stories and storytelling in general just had a really big place in my heart and in my soul. That any free time I have, I would spend either reading, watching, or playing. Basically anything that has a good story. And so back then, I was more active actually in chasing this dream. I went to college, took a degree in literature just to be able to learn all about storytelling. So then I learned all about the literary theories of what makes a good story basically for critics and for writers alike. And I also was able to publish several short stories during my 20s. But then, life happens. You suddenly find the need to financially support your family. And so those dreams were pushed aside in favor of work that helped me earn a substantial living. And so, I guess it came to a point where the money just wasn't cutting it for me, that I needed something more, something deeper, something more fulfilling, something that connected with my soul rather than just help me survive, if you get what I'm saying. And how does this relate to YouTube? All right, so because I've been in the digital marketing industry and field for more than 10 years now, the trends has always been that video is always on the rise. And the more I think about it, I think it was Seth Godin. It may be him. May or may not be him, not sure. But it may be Seth Godin that said that, vlogging and podcasting are the new blogging of this age. Back then, when I was in college, blogging was still a thing. Me and my friends would write in our personal blogs and then share them with each other. And it was great. There was no pressure built into it the way that there is now with SEO and everything, and trying to get organic traffic and trying to use ads to drive more traffic to your blog. And it was so much different back then. And from what I'm hearing from people, YouTube feels the same way it did, that blogging did back then. Wherein there was a time where YouTube was all polished. Wasn't it? What's with all these creators who had these polished videos, studio quality videos basically. But now things are shifting and people are leaning more towards content like this, where people are, recording in the back of their car, in their living room, in their kitchens, and they're just talking and sharing their thoughts, sharing their insights, sharing their wisdom, and people find that interesting and entertaining. And so it has become the new way of blogging, wherein it's sort of a record of people's lives, but it's also a record of their thoughts, of their insights, of their wisdom, of the things that they're able to share to other people that they've learned throughout their lives. And people seem to like to listen to these kinds of videos more. In fact, I myself, while I still love to read and I still love to watch movies, watch TV shows, watch anime, I've also found myself consuming more content on YouTube from small-time creators who are also just sharing the things that they've learned throughout their lives. And even when it came to podcasts, when podcasts were still in their infancy, or they weren't as popular as they were now, I was listening to podcasts because it's the thing that would keep me occupied during my commute to work, basically. And it's the thing that taught me how to shift my mindset from just being a storyteller or an author to a marketer. Basically, I learned everything about marketing through podcasts, mainly through the Smart Passive Income podcast with Pat Flynn. And there were several other podcasts that I listened to back then that helped shape my mindset, so to speak, and switch it and change it into something that would help me find success, even if I didn't have a degree in marketing or communications or anything. But just because I knew how to write and I knew how to tell a story, I was able to shift and use that knowledge and skill in marketing. And so, if back then podcasts were already a thing and were already growing and then now they've reached a certain peak and are still growing, what more things like YouTube? And so, if podcasts back then were a thing and continue to grow, it means that people still want to listen. They want to be entertained. They want to be taught certain things. They want to gain more insight and more knowledge about various topics. And it's just that listening can be done more passively than reading. Even audiobooks now. I'm not a big consumer in audiobooks, but audiobooks are a great thing, especially for somebody who's always driving, always on the move. And the great thing about podcasts is that you can listen to them even while you're doing your daily chores, even while you're doing the laundry, you're washing dishes, you're cooking. And the thing is, YouTube isn't that far removed from podcasting. Better yet, YouTube is free. It's a free platform that anybody can use. It doesn't require you to pay anything to get started, and it can reach a massive audience. And when you think about it, there are almost 3 billion users on YouTube every month. Then you add to that the fact that it's the second largest search engine in the world next to Google. So everybody who's searching for anything, tutorials, for how-tos, insights, or anything about any niche topic will find content and will find information on YouTube. But going back to that idea that vlogging, podcasting is the new blogging, when you really think about it, it's still making use of words. So even if it's just me speaking here, it still involves the use of words to be able to teach something, to be able to tell a story, to be able to entertain someone using the use of words. And some people, they write out scripts for the YouTube videos that they create. And some people, they don't write out scripts and they just talk about the things that they've experienced and the things that they know about and they're experts at. And that's the thing. That's the power of words, basically. And so it doesn't really matter whether you're blogging, vlogging, or podcasting. The fact of the matter is you're still using the art of storytelling and the art of writing or stringing words together to be able to teach or tell something or entertain someone. So it doesn't make so much big of a difference when you really think about it. It's practically the same, it's just a different medium. So YouTube is still a platform for storytelling. In fact, it's a huge platform for storytelling. And the fact is that anybody can get started. And the reach on YouTube is far greater than any other social media platform. I mean, you think about Twitter or X, Instagram or Facebook, and how short of a lifespan those platforms have for each of your posts. Like, many of them are less than a day, basically. Just a few hours. Every post you post on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, few minutes to a few hours. That's it. But YouTube, according to statistics, you get about almost 8 to 9 days of organic reach just from one video. And it's still searchable. And when you think about social media, it's so hard to search for something there, something specific that you're looking for. Like if you go to Instagram or Facebook, you will find stuff, but it's so much harder to find the exact content that you're looking for on those social platforms compared to on YouTube. And quite frankly, as somebody who's worked in social media or as a social media manager for almost a decade, I'm just tired of that hamster wheel where you're just churning out and churning out content day in and day out, every single day, just to meet a quota or just to be able to reach a certain number of likes or views or engagement. It's incredibly tiring and it can easily burn you out. And it's just not something I want to do. I don't want to chase after that hamster wheel. And I'd rather just create something, put it out there, and have people find it on their own. And this is why I'm choosing YouTube as the platform. So there will be videos in my channel like this that are pretty informal or off the cuff. And there will be some that I may script just so that I can still make use of the writing that I so desperately want to do. And so if you're considering starting YouTube, whether you're a writer or not, maybe you're just a creator or an artist, and you're thinking about starting YouTube, let this be my little push for you to go ahead, start. You know, it may be awkward at first, especially if you're not used to recording yourself on video or speaking on video or speaking in general, because a lot of writers are very introverted and they have a hard time communicating basically the things that they want to say. And you know, YouTube is actually the perfect platform to help hone and practice that skill of communication with your actual voice and not just your writing voice. So maybe, I don't know, if one day you're invited to speak at a conference or a keynote, at least you'll have had a lot of practice because you make YouTube videos and because you put yourself out there and you receive feedback from your followers or your viewers. So it's the perfect avenue for practice, basically. For practice both in using your words to convey a message and practice in using your voice, your actual voice, and your writing voice. So if you're on the fence, this is a sign, basically, to stop sitting on the fence. Get off it and start doing the work. Record your first YouTube video, put it out there, And don't get so hung up on how many people watch it. Think of it like blogging was back in the day. It's a record of your thoughts, of your insights, of your knowledge and your expertise. It's a way for you to tell your story or any other story that you want to tell. So with that those are my personal reasons for why I chose YouTube and why I'm choosing to go to YouTube. And I hope that this somehow encourages you to do the same, especially if you're considering it.